The Stranger Things. Volume 2 trailer just dropped, and it's packed with details that are easy to miss if you blink. This 2-minute trailer revealed way more than you probably caught on first watch. Will thinks they already lost. The trailer opens exactly where episode 4 ended. Will just unlocked his powers by controlling those Demogorgons, and he's standing there with blood dripping from his nose. But instead of feeling powerful or hopeful, Will looks defeated. Noah Schnapp's delivery of "we failed, we never stood a chance" hits different because this is coming right after Will discovered he has abilities. Think about what that means. Will can tap into Vecna's hive mind and control monsters. That should be a game changer. But Will's saying they failed anyway. He's not talking about what just happened at the military compound. He's talking about the bigger picture. Vecna walked through that base and slaughtered soldiers like it was nothing. He took the kids he wanted. He left destruction in his wake. And Will's realizing that even with powers, they might not be strong enough to stop him. Joyce hugging Will and telling him it's not over is such a mom moment. Winona Ryder is playing Joyce as someone who refuses to accept defeat no matter how bad things look. She's been through this before in season 1 when everyone told her Will was dead and she didn't believe them. Joyce doesn't give up on her kids, ever. That hug isn't just comfort. It's Joyce telling Will that having powers doesn't mean he has to carry this burden alone, but here's what you might have missed. Will's wearing different clothes in this scene than he was at the end of episode 4. That means some time has passed. The group's had a chance to regroup and process what happened. Will's not immediately devastated. He's had time to think about it, and after thinking, he's concluded they're screwed. That's way darker than just reacting emotionally in the moment. Dustin drops the biggest revelation. Dustin's line about everything they assumed about the Upside Down being dead wrong is probably the most important moment in the entire trailer. Gaten Matarazzo's delivery sells how horrified Dustin is. This isn't Dustin being his usual nerdy self explaining science. This is Dustin genuinely scared because he just learned something that changes everything. We see Dustin and Steve in what looks like Hawkins' lab covered in vines. They're deep in the Upside Down, which means they went there deliberately. They're on a mission, probably trying to rescue the kids or find Vecna or both. And while they're there, they discover something big enough that Dustin, who spent years studying the Upside Down and theorizing about how it works, realizes all his assumptions were wrong. What could that be? The Duffers have been saying since before season 5 started that this season will finally answer what the Upside Down truly is. They said it's a question they've been holding on to since season 1. If Dustin's saying everything they assumed is wrong, that means the Upside Down isn't what we think it is. Maybe it's not an alternate dimension. Maybe it's not a mirror of Hawkins. Maybe the whole framework for understanding it needs to be thrown out. Right after Dustin says this, he looks up and says, "Mother of God." The camera follows his gaze and we see this massive swirling ball of red and black energy. It's rotating and pulsing and looks absolutely massive. If you've read A Wrinkle in Time, it resembles the IT from that book. A giant evil consciousness that controls minds. That visual reference isn't accidental. The Duffers love 80s pop culture, and A Wrinkle in Time has been referenced multiple times this season through Holly. This swirling thing is probably the true form of the Mind Flayer, or maybe the actual source of the Upside Down's power. It's not the spider shape we saw in seasons 2 and 3, it's something older and more primal. Dustin realizing this explains his horror. They've been fighting what they thought was the Mind Flayer, but that was just one small piece of something much bigger. That giant gate is not normal. Nancy and Jonathan also see something strange in the Upside Down sky. There's this enormous swirling portal above them that's way bigger than any gate we've seen before. It's not a clean rip like the gates in previous seasons. It's organic and moving and looks alive. Multiple characters in different locations seem to see versions of the same phenomenon, which means it's spreading across the entire Upside Down. This could be Vecna's endgame. He's been opening small gates to weaken the barrier between dimensions. But what if his real plan is to open one massive gate that merges the Upside Down with the real world permanently? That swirling energy could be the beginning of that merge. Once it's complete, there won't be two separate worlds anymore. There'll just be one nightmare reality controlled by Vecna. The fact that Nancy and Jonathan are together in the Upside Down is interesting. They've been in Hawkins with Steve and Dustin since episode 3. This suggests the whole group goes into the Upside Down together at some point in volume 2, probably for a rescue mission. Getting everyone into enemy territory raises the stakes because if something goes wrong, they're all trapped. Steve and Dustin's death pact. This is the moment everyone's freaking out about. Steve tells Dustin, "If you die, I die." And Dustin responds with the same words. It's a callback to season 3 when they were trapped in the Russian elevator, and Dustin refused to let Steve open the mysterious crate alone. Back then, it was kind of funny. A joke about their friendship. Now it's not funny at all. The context matters. They're saying this while in the Upside Down, covered in grime, clearly in the middle of something dangerous. This isn't casual banter. This is them acknowledging that they might not make it out. And if one of them dies, the other's not leaving without them. That's beautiful and terrifying at the same time. What you might have missed is that this scene happens after the everything we assumed is wrong moment. Dustin and Steve have already discovered whatever horrible truth about the Upside Down they found. They're dealing with that knowledge and still pushing forward. The Death Pact isn't just about friendship, it's about facing impossible odds together. Joe Keery and Gaten Matarazzo's chemistry sells this moment. You can see how much Steve and Dustin mean to each other. Steve's been Dustin's big brother for 3 seasons. Dustin's been Steve's best friend. Losing either of them would devastate the other, which is exactly why this moment has fans convinced one or both of them are dying in Volume 2. The Duffers wouldn't include this callback unless it's going to pay off in a tragic way. 11 recruits Kali for murder. 11 meeting with Kali is huge. Linnea Berthelsen hasn't been on the show since season 2. Kali got one episode where she tried to convince 11 to embrace rage and hunt down everyone who hurt them at Hawkins' lab. 11 rejected that path. Now she's back asking for Kaylee's help, and her request is simple. Help me find him. Kill him. 11's not asking Kaylee to help trap Vecna or weaken him. She wants Kaylee to help her commit murder. That's dark for 11. Yes, she's killed before in self-defense or to protect others, but this is premeditated. 11's making the choice to hunt Vecna down and end him, and she needs Kaylee's abilities to do it. Why does 11 need Kaylee specifically? Kali can create illusions that look completely real. In season 2, she made 11 see a fake version of Dr. Brenner. She made a room full of people see things that weren't there. Against Vecna, who operates through mental manipulation and fear, Kaylee's powers could be the perfect counter. She could create illusions that confuse him or make him vulnerable to 11's attacks. But here's what's interesting. The trailer shows 11 with her head shaved again. That's significant because 11's hair has been a symbol of her freedom throughout the show. When she escaped the lab in season 1, she had a shaved head. As her hair grew, it represented her becoming her own person instead of being a weapon. Shaving it again suggests 11's going back to being a weapon, at least temporarily. She's embracing that part of herself to win this fight. The shot of 11 in the void wearing headphones and her dark blue bandana confirms she's using her powers to search for Vecna. She's probably trying to locate him so she and Kaylee can strike. The fact that she's in the void means she's strong enough to access it again after her training with Hopper in the junkyard. Max and Holly are still trapped. Max and Holly appear together in multiple shots, and they're clearly still in Vecna's mindscape. They're looking down tunnels, descending staircases, exploring this mental prison they've been stuck in since Holly got taken. The trailer doesn't show them escaping, which means their storyline in Volume 2 is about trying to get out. There's a really quick shot where you see 2 versions of Henry Creel. One is young Henry in his school outfit looking relatively normal. The other is gaunt Henry as an orderly after he killed his family, but before he became Vecna. These images flash back and forth showing the transformation. Max and Holly are watching this happen, which means they're exploring deeper into Henry's memories than Max was alone in Volume 1. Holly's been handling this situation remarkably well for a 10-year-old. She's been dancing, baking cookies, and generally acting like she's okay because Vecna's keeping her calm with illusions. But the trailer shows Holly looking scared in some shots. That suggests the illusion's starting to break. Holly's figuring out that Mr. Whatsit isn't real and that she's in serious danger. Max has been Holly's guide through this nightmare. Sadie Sink's barely been on screen in Volume 1, except in Vecna's mind, but Volume 2 seems to give her more to do. Max knows this place. She's been hiding in Henry's memories for 20 months. She knows which areas are safe and which aren't. Her job is keeping Holly alive and sane while they figure out how to escape. The episode title, Escape from Camazotz, is literally about Max and Holly getting out. Camazotz is what Holly named Vecna's mind prison after the evil planet in A Wrinkle in Time. That book had the main character entering IT's mind to save her brother. Max and Holly are doing the same thing, except they're trying to save themselves, and potentially the other kids Vecna's holding. Vecna's ready for his new world. Jamie Campbell Bower appears as both Henry and Vecna in the trailer. There's that shot of Henry walking downstairs and transforming into Vecna in real time. His skin stretches, his body contorts, and he becomes the monster. Then Vecna says, "It is time for a new world." That's his endgame spelled out. Vecna doesn't just want to kill people or open gates, he wants to reshape reality into something new, something under his control where he's basically God. The Duffers have been building to this since season 4 when Vecna explained his philosophy about humanity being a mistake that needs to be corrected. What's interesting is Vecna looks confident. He's not worried or scared, he's announcing his plan like it's already won. That confidence should terrify everyone because Vecna's not stupid. If he thinks he's about to win, he probably has good reason to think that. He's already got most of the 12 kids he needs. He's already survived multiple attempts to kill him. He's stronger than he's ever been. The transformation shot is also important thematically. It shows that Henry Creel and Vecna are the same person. Some fans have theorized that Vecna is completely separate from Henry, that the boy's gone and only the monster remains. But this shot proves Henry's still in there. He can shift between forms. That suggests there might be a way to reach the human part of him, which could be crucial to defeating him. Nancy goes full action hero. There's this incredible shot of Nancy popping out of the top of a delivery truck and opening fire on military soldiers. Brett Gelman's Murray is driving the truck. You can see Natalia Dyer's face completely focused as Nancy aims and shoots. This is Nancy at her most badass, taking on the military to protect her friends. This scene probably happens when the group's trying to get through the Mac Z to reach the gate. The military's still occupying Hawkins and treating Eleven as a threat. Nancy's not going to let soldiers stop them from saving the world, so she does what she has to do. It's a huge escalation from previous seasons where Nancy was cautious about confronting authority. Charlie Heaton's Jonathan is also in the truck, which makes sense. He and Nancy have been partners since season 1. But the fact that Nancy's the one shooting while Jonathan's just along for the ride shows how much Nancy's become the primary action character in their relationship. She's not waiting for someone else to protect her. She's doing it herself. And what you might miss in this shot is how many people are in the truck. You can see multiple figures, which suggests this is the whole group making a coordinated assault on the Mac Zed. They're not sneaking in. They're going in loud and hard, counting on speed and chaos to get them through. That's a desperate move, which tells you how urgent the situation's become. The hospital attack looks brutal. There's a brief shot of what looks like Hawkins Memorial Hospital being attacked by a Demogorgon. You can see Lucas and possibly Vicky inside. This is terrifying because Max's body is in that hospital. She's been in a coma there for 20 months while her consciousness is trapped in Vecna's mind. If Vecna attacks the hospital, he could kill Max's physical body, which would trap her in his mind forever. Lucas has been by Max's bedside constantly, playing running up that hill to create a portal between her mind and the real world. If the hospital's under attack, Lucas is going to have to choose between staying with Max or evacuating to safety. Knowing Lucas, he's not leaving her, which means he's going to be fighting a Demogorgon in a hospital while trying to protect his comatose girlfriend. Vicky being there suggests Robin might be nearby too. Amy Beth McNulty's been in season 5 but hasn't had a ton to do yet. The hospital attack could be her big moment to show she's brave and capable. Maybe she helps Lucas fight off the Demogorgon. Maybe she helps evacuate patients. Either way, it's going to be intense. The timing of this attack matters. Is it happening at the same time as the Max Z assault? Is Vecna trying to distract the group by going after Max's body while they're trying to find him? That would be strategic. It forces the group to split up, which makes them weaker. Some have to defend the hospital while others go after Vecna. Ways of powers are the wild card. Rose Duffer's quote in the trailer announcement is key. He said they've always known Will has a connection to Vecna, and season 5 explores what happens if Will harnesses that connection and uses it against their villains. The trailer shows Will looking powerful in some shots and defeated in others, which suggests he's struggling with these abilities. Noah Schnapp's been saying Will's powers will change the game. Finn Wolfhard said they basically have two 11s now, but that assumes Will can control his powers consistently. What if he can't? What if tapping into the hive mind is dangerous because it exposes Will to Vecna's influence? Every time Will uses his abilities, he's connecting directly to Vecna's consciousness. That's a huge risk. The trailer doesn't show Will using his powers after the opening scene. That's suspicious. If Will's abilities are so important, why aren't we seeing him control monsters or fight alongside 11? Maybe because showing that would spoil major plot points. Or maybe because Will's powers come with a cost that makes using them complicated. There's also the question of whether Vecna knows about Will's abilities yet. At the end of episode 4, Vecna left before seeing Will control the Demogorgons. If Vecna doesn't know Will can do this, that's a tactical advantage. The group could use Will's powers as a surprise attack, but if Vecna finds out, he might try to take control of Will through the hive mind connection. The electrocuted Demogorgon is wild. There's one shot that's easy to miss harmless but totally insane, a Demogorgon getting electrocuted. You can see electricity coursing through its body as it writhes in pain. This is significant because we've never seen the group use electricity as a weapon against upside-down creatures before. Who's doing this? The most likely answer is the military. They've been experimenting in the Upside Down, trying to figure out how to fight these monsters. They might have developed electrical weapons specifically designed to hurt creatures from that dimension. If that's the case, the military's not completely useless. They've got tools the group doesn't have. But there's another possibility. What if Will's doing this? We know he can control creatures through the hive mind, but can he also hurt them? If Will's tapping into Vecna's power, maybe he can channel energy through the connection and weaponize it. That would make Will incredibly dangerous, not just to Demogorgons, but potentially to Vecna himself. The visual of the electrocuted Demogorgon is also just horrifying. These creatures have been scary since season 1 because they're nearly indestructible. Seeing one in pain, being hurt by human technology or powers, changes the dynamic. It shows they're not invincible. That's both hopeful and disturbing. Mike and Eleven's moment hints at separation. There's a shot of Mike and Eleven holding each other. Finn Wolfhard and Millie Bobby Brown are playing this as a goodbye or a we might not see each other again moment. Mike looks terrified. Eleven looks determined. This is probably right before Eleven goes off to find and kill Vecna with Kaylee's help. Mike's been protective of Eleven since season 1. He doesn't want her putting herself in danger, but Eleven's the only one with the power to stop Vecna. She has to go, and Mike has to let her, even though it's killing him. That conflict has been at the heart of their relationship for 5 seasons. Mike wants to keep Eleven safe. Eleven wants to use her abilities to help people. They love each other, but they want incompatible things. This moment is probably Mike finally accepting that he can't protect Eleven from this fight. She's going to face Vecna whether he likes it or not. All he can do is trust that she's strong enough to survive. That's a huge character moment for Mike, who spent the entire series trying to keep the people he loves out of danger. The fact that Eleven's head is shaved in this scene confirms she's preparing for battle. Shaving her head is her way of getting into the right mindset. She's not Jane Hopper, Mike's girlfriend, normal teenager. She's 11, the most powerful person alive, about to fight the most powerful monster alive. That requires a different version of herself. The Duffers confirm major revelations coming. Ross Duffer's comment about the season answering what the Upside Down truly is and why Will was taken are the 2 biggest promises of Volume 2. Those are questions fans have been asking since season 1. The trailer's setting up both answers through Dustin's discovery and Will's powers. What is the Upside Down truly? Not a parallel dimension, not just a mirror of Hawkins. Something else. Something connected to that swirling red and black energy Dustin and Steve find. Something that changes everything they thought they knew. The Duffers have been holding this answer for almost a decade. Whatever it is, it's going to recontextualize the entire series. Why was Will taken? Not random chance, not because he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Vecna chose him specifically. There's a reason Will was the first victim, the first vessel, the first person connected to the hive mind, and that reason is apparently important enough that it's been a mystery for 9 years. Volume 2 is going to reveal why Will Byers was always the key to everything. These revelations aren't just lore dumps. They're going to change how the characters approach the final battle. Once they understand what the Upside Down really is and why Will matters, they'll have the knowledge they need to actually defeat Vecna. That's the point of withholding this information until now. It's the final piece of the puzzle. Volume 2 episode titles. Tell a story. The 3 Volume 2 episodes are titled Shock Jock, Escape from Camazotz, and The Bridge. Those titles reveal a lot about the structure. Shock Jock is about the immediate aftermath of episode 4. Ross Duffer said it picks up moments after the end of Sorcerer, and it's far darker and scarier than the Turnbow Trap. That suggests episode 5 is going to be brutal. Escape from Camazotz is obviously Max and Holly's episode. They're getting out of Vecna's mind, probably with some or all of the other kids. That escape is going to be the emotional core of episode 6. We're finally going to see Max wake up and reunite with Lucas after 20 months. That's going to wreck everyone. The bridge is interesting because bridges connect 2 things. It could be literal, a bridge between the Upside Down and the real world. Or it could be metaphorical, Will being the bridge between the group and Vecna because of his hive mind connection. Either way, episode 7 is going to set up the finale by putting all the pieces in place for the final confrontation. Frank Darabont directed episode 5. He's famous for The Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile. Having him back for a darker, scarier episode suggests Volume 2's not messing around. If the guy who made some of the most emotionally devastating movies ever is directing, expect heartbreak. The Christmas release. Date feels cruel. Netflix dropping. Volume 2 on Christmas Day is such a power move. Families are going to gather for the holidays, and instead of wholesome Christmas content, they're going to watch Stranger Things characters suffer and possibly die. The contrast between Christmas joy and Stranger Things darkness is intentional. But there's something poetic about it too. The show's always been about family, both biological and chosen. The kids, Joyce and Hopper, the whole group, they're family. Releasing on Christmas emphasizes that theme. This is a story about people who love each other fighting to protect each other. That's very Christmas, even if the execution involves monsters and death. The finale releasing on New Year's Eve is equally symbolic. New Year's is about endings and new beginning. The finale's titled The Right Side Up, which suggests the upside down gets fixed or destroyed and the world goes back to normal. Releasing it on New Year's Eve, right as 2025 becomes 2026, mirrors the show's themes of time and change and moving forward. It also means fans are spending the holidays completely consumed by Stranger Things. Volume 2 on Christmas, 3 days to process and theorize, then the finale on New Year's. That's a week where Stranger Things dominates all conversation. Netflix knows exactly what they're doing with this release strategy. 2 hours of finale in theaters. The finale of being 2 hours and 5 minutes long and playing in theaters is massive. That's longer than most Marvel movies. The Duffers are treating this like a cinematic event, not just a TV finale. Seeing it in theaters with other fans is going to be an experience unlike anything the show's done before. That runtime means everything's going to get resolved. There's no cliffhanger, no sequel setup, no loose ends. The Duffers have 2 hours to wrap up 9 years of storytelling. That's enough time to give every character their moment, answer every question, and deliver an ending that feels complete. But 2 hours also means there's room for things to breathe. The finale's not going to be non-stop action. There will be quiet character moments, emotional goodbyes, and probably a lengthy epilogue showing what happens after Vecna's defeated. The Duffers know this is the last time they'll ever get to tell stories with these characters. They're going to use every minute they have. Playing in theaters means the Duffers want the finale to be seen on the biggest screen possible. They shot it with theatrical presentation in mind. That suggests the visuals are going to be stunning, the action massive, and the emotional beats big enough to work for an audience of hundreds instead of just people watching on their laptops. Everything we assumed is wrong. That line from Dustin keeps coming back. Everything we have ever assumed about the Upside Down has been dead wrong. It's not just a throwaway line, it's the thesis of Volume 2. Everything changes, everything gets recontextualized. Nothing is what we thought. The gates aren't just holes between dimensions. The Upside Down isn't just an alternate Hawkins. Vecna isn't just a powerful psychic. The Mind Flayer isn't just a monster. Will being taken wasn't random. All of these things we've accepted as truth for years are about to be revealed as incomplete or misleading or entirely wrong. That's exciting and terrifying. Exciting because getting real answers after 9 years is going to be satisfying. Terrifying because if everything's wrong, then the group's entire strategy might be wrong. They've been approaching this fight based on assumptions that don't hold up. Now they have to adjust on the fly while Vecna's closing in on victory. Volume 2 is going to make you want to rewatch the entire series with new understanding. Once you know what the Upside Down really is and why Will was taken, every scene from season 1 forward hits different. That's masterful storytelling. The Duffers have been planning this reveal since the beginning, and it's finally happening. So rewatch the trailer frame by frame because there's probably even more hidden in there that we haven't caught yet. December 25th can't come fast enough, and after watching this trailer, we're both more excited and more terrified than ever for how this story ends.